Yeah, thanks so much everyone for joining the mDL Technology Showcase webinar today. We are still waiting for Sandy and Teresa to join, so we're going to skip ahead and have Alex kick us.
About use cases. Well, this year we want to show you and we want to invite you to be part of those use cases for acceptance of an mDL. Goals here, we're going to unite all of the mDL ecosystem stakeholders. We want to get issuers, reliant parties, wallets, readers, infrastructure all together at this same table and demonstrate how mDL could work for a particular use case. And I know Alex mentioned a couple of those during the beginning part, and we'll talk more about it. We want to use the mdlconnection.com resource that STA puts together and inform the public about like this, what this vision looks like, what it looks like to accept an mdl. There's a white paper, the link is there, and the link will be in the slides, that was published now, I think, 4 years ago, that lays out some of this. It's how do you build this ecosystem, and you build the ecosystem by use cases. We've also recently published a use case template that we encourage all of the project teams to work to use. That use case template gives you a guide where you can walk through and fill it out and determine how you can how you would accept an MDL. What are the different interactions? What are the privacy considerations? How should I treat data? What are my compliance requirements? So those two things are resources to start this. And this event is intending to inform publishing use case specific versions of those on mdlconnection.com. So there are some of the questions that you can have answered. So I'm going to talk from two different points of view. If we could go to the next slide, please. Why you should attend this showcase, and then when we get to the next slide is why you should participate in the showcase. So attending, again, we want to do real world scenarios with real production MDLs, and showcase ways that you can fulfill requirements of a use case using an MDL. So you'll get to see authentic MDLs, engage and talk to all of STA membership plus others who are experts in the area of the MDL ecosystem or becoming experts in the area of the MDL ecosystem, and then see new ways like that you can lower customer friction and improve efficiency. And then some of the benefits of MDL. I think also it's going to be interesting because the comment has been made by quite a number of relying parties as well. When should I start? It doesn't seem like there's too many yet, and I can't get approval to go forward. So we want to try to use these use cases and the information on mdlconnection.com to help you build that case. Why does it make sense to start this now? So we'll have information on that available as well. The link that you see there, sdasummit.com, is to the summit in general, and you can get tickets for the attendance at the 3-day summit, and then as well then Monday afternoon to take part in the MDL showcase. And go ahead to the next one, please. Excellent. So then there's why participate in the showcase. That means forming a team that includes, or bringing a team that includes all of these different, like, do you have an issuer, the technology, a wallet, a reader, a point of sale device, and the relying party themselves. As an example, there's Carolyn, who'll be speaking in a little bit. One of her working groups has worked on publishing a banking in a branch use case, and so we expect to see everybody from the issuer to the bank themselves sort of at this table showing this is how they built out the acceptance of an MDL at that use case. These are the advantages. This is what we learned at it. This is how it looks like to interact on that. So we encourage you to form a team. If you do not have a team, it's fine. You can still, the QR code on the left is basically like a sign up to take part, and we can match people into a team as well. So especially if you working in a business, federal agency, state agency that wants to accept MDL, then those are the, in particular, the people that we want to try to encourage. So again, there's a real MDL in a real transaction with the software of a real relying party, and we want to try to do these integrations and show them. And many of them exist already. We've got people already signed up for tables. And then there's advantages to participating, right? Being able to get exposure for the technology you created and the vision that you have, learn and or explain the ROI of MDL acceptance. And then we expect to have, I would say, there's at least going to be 4 or 5 and probably more MDL issuers in attendance and taking part in the different use cases themselves. So you get to talk with them as well and find out what their needs are. So if you're on the payment side, if you're on the identity side, if you're a federal agency, if you're any of these, we encourage you to sort of come in, let's take part, let's build these out, let's show them at this. You'll notice that the word presentation has never been used here. These are not presentations. It's not a sales event. This is, let's show everybody how the MDL ecosystem is forming and will form out. So I think we can go to the next slide. And Madhu, you have the next slide as well. And I noticed we didn't actually introduce ourselves, which maybe we'll do towards the end.
We can go to the next slide too. But my name is Madhu. I'm from OneProof. We'll go over the schedule for the event on February 24th. Um, Next slide. Yeah, there we go. So from 9 to 10, the participants will be able to set up their tables. From 10 to 11:30, the showcase participants will be able to cross-test with their solutions and use cases with the other participants, other showcase participants. You'll get to interact with other showcase participants from 10 to 11:30. From 11:30 to 12, we'll break for early lunch. From 12:30 to 12:45, we have opening remarks by the mDL Gemstart committee. Basically go over the goals for the showcase, the privacy aspects of the showcase, photo, video. But from 12:30 to 4:30, we basically have the showcase unstructured. The summit attendees will be able to come interact with the tables, basically like a science fair style. After the showcase, you get an opportunity to network at the summit cocktail reception. On Wednesday, the 26th, from 11 a.m. to 12, we'll do a presentation on the lessons learned and the goals we observed from the showcase on Monday. With that, I think Carolyn's next.
Hey everyone, my name is Carolyn Manna Sorensen. I'm an independent consultant in digital identity strategy for Scavi Dev and a member of the mDL Jumpstart Committee. So this was really Sandy's detail, but I can go ahead and walk through kind of what the environment looks like for the day that Madhu was just talking about. So this is the room that we have at the event. So the idea is around the kind of edge of the room, we'll have tables for the exhibits and for interactions. And then there's more of kind of a social area in the middle where people can sit down. And I think there might be times where others may be coming in even during like a break or a lunch for coffee or and sitting in the middle. So just want to give an idea of what this looks like. And then as you sign up for a table, you can select which of the table numbers you would like to be at. So if we go to the next one, and kind of just to echo what David was saying, you can reserve one of these tables through the Summit website. So we've separated out the technology showcase. It is its own event. You can sign up exclusively for that, or you can sign up as part of the overall summit if you'd like to attend the full part of it. And just kind of what would happen once you sign up for a table, you'll be contacted by Christina Holka, our executive director at Secure Technology Alliance, just to kind of fill out the information, make sure, we have the contract set up properly, you have all the information you need about the table and the contract, and we'll get it ready. So those are just some of the logistical details, and certainly reaching out to Sandy Mayfield, who is our director for the Identity Forum, can get you any of the additional help or details that you need on that. Okay, so we go to the next part here. This was the part that I'm most excited about and what I was really looking forward to talking with this group. So we're really looking forward to making everyone successful and all of the participants who are bringing great ideas, original thinking around the mobile driver's license ecosystem. How can we help make that successful? And what can we provide to connect people as well as provide additional help around technology? So if you go ahead, Danielle, the first thing that we can offer is access to the mDL Jumpstart Committee. So you have over 60 individuals who are part of the mDL Jumpstart group from all over different industries, as well as representing relying parties who are looking to consume mobile driver's licenses, issuers from the states who are involved directly in the DMVs and providing technology, providing mDLs to their constituents and technology providers who are helping solve some of those detailed problems around the consumption and deployment of the ecosystem itself from a technology perspective. So part of what the Jumpstart group has been working on is, as David talked about earlier, is building out a lot of these use cases and telling the story of what is the value proposition of acceptance of mobile driver's license? What sorts of solutions and problems can it solve? How does it impact the fraud risk that you might have as an institution? How does it impact your compliance risk? So, those are the details that we're looking to capture in those more formal use case templates, and we would be really excited about collaborating with some of the teams to understand their perspective, bring in their use cases, and have them contribute to things that we're already working on. So some of the examples of active working groups that are actually documenting use cases right now. And this is not to say that these are the only use cases that are accepted or anything like that. We're absolutely open to looking at all kinds of different problems that mDLs can solve. But these are just examples of some of those that are actively being discussed and captured in the working groups. So age verification for purchase of alcohol at a store or restaurant, ID verification in person at a branch at a teller, freezing, unfreezing credit reports based on an mDL verification, age verification at a casino where you have restricted areas or even restricted interactions. Now that the ISO standard 18013-7 has been approved for online verification or online presentation of mobile driver's licenses, account opening and KYC is at the top of everyone's mind on how can that really revolutionize the idea of account opening and onboarding and know your customer in online transactions. And then finally, one of the exciting ones that's been talked about in the retail space, apart from like the age restriction parts, it's how do you utilize something like buy online, pick up in person, and have the mDL as a way to verify the right person is showing up and picking something up. So just wanted to give some ideas around the active use cases and would be thrilled to collaborate with anyone who has ideas around how to bring additional information or examples to these use cases. All right. Next one, Danielle. All right, so we're really looking to make these interactive experiences. And so we're warmly encouraging participants to allow real world mobile driver's licenses to be presented and interact with their exhibits if that's possible. We can understand there may be constraints around privacy as well as constraints around some of the availability of the latest standards. But we wanted to open up that idea of allowing interactions with production mDLs. Now, not everyone is a resident of a state that has an mDL, so we do ask that everyone has a test mDL and even test devices at their tables so that in the case that either someone doesn't want to use their personal device or does not have access to an mDL through their state, that they could still interact with the exhibit. And then the third part would be that we have several technology providers who are providing technology for test mDLs so that you can have the full capability of the -5 for in-person as well as the -7 standards for online capability. So if, for example, you have a solution where you're looking for a test mDL, those will be available through our Showcase toolkit and would include wallet, mDL issuance, and certificates for verification of those test mDLs. So want to make those available so that if there's anything around your solution that needs additional technology support, that we're able to provide that as part of what the Showcase team is offering. In that vein of interactive experiences, that means that there could potentially be a lot of data flying back and forth. And we do ask that everyone who is a participant in the Showcase must not retain any of that personal data. And STA will provide a standard privacy policy for anyone who does not have one. If you have, your own legal team, your own privacy policy, then you're welcome to use that as well. But we just want to be really cautious and sensitive around the personal data that may be part of these interactive events and protect that. Remember, we will be in California. All right, Danielle, last one. All right, we also wanted to mention that we will have representatives for conformance and certification testing that are part of this event. So if you are a technology provider or reliant party looking for help or information around ISO standard conformance testing, certification testing, or what those test suites are like, please reach out to us. We'll get you involved with our technology integration group and provide you information beforehand, as well as access to talk about the test suites and conformance testing at the event. So if you do have an interest in kind of taking that formal step to compliance and certification, then we'd love to support that. And finally, as we're kind of wrapping everything up, a big part of holding an event like this is, exchanging these ideas, bringing forth really interesting and accessible use cases that are solving real life problems. And we'd like to kind of create a readout where we're capturing a standard blurb, I guess you could say, from each of the teams that are participating so that we can report that out kind of to the larger audience. So there will be a form on our toolkit page, which I'll talk about in just a second, which each participant team can submit information about, for example, who's involved, what technology are they using, what data is involved, what their learnings have been, and what problems they're solving. And that's something that we'd like to kind of capture and make available as a report out on the overall event. As Madhu had mentioned, there is a reserve time in the larger summit for discussing learnings and kind of having that readout as part of the summit itself. So there will be a session on Wednesday. So warmly encourage anyone who is part of a participating team, but also attending the larger event to come to that session. And we'll talk more about that as that becomes closer. And if you aren't able to attend the summit itself, then happy to work with you through the working groups to make sure that your use case and experiences are represented at that readout. And then ultimately, as part of bringing everybody together, of working through some of these use cases, as I mentioned, we'd love to capture some of that more sort of formal overview of the use cases and continue to make that available through the mDL Connection website. So those are just some of the outcomes that we're looking for in sharing, the exciting ideas, sharing some of this great interactive opportunity that we have as part of the showcase. And so everything that I've kind of talked about here as far as resources, Danielle, if you don't mind going to the next one, everything we've talked about here as far as resources, so whether that's access to the technology, test environments, so test wallets, test mDL issuance, test certificates for verification, contacts to get in touch with some of the working groups if you're interested in getting feedback or collaborating with any of those working groups on use cases, or just getting feedback on what you're presenting, or if you have questions about the standards testing or getting involved with certification, all of those contacts will be available through the toolkit site. And then as questions come up, as new information or new technology is available, then that's kind of where we'll be publishing it. So coming soon, you'll see that mobile driver's license showcase toolkit available with kind of all of this information, as well as anything that's kind of coming up in the meantime.
I think at this point, if we could go back up to slide 2, and then I think that was the one, Teresa, that you had, and we can kind of talk a little more about STA and the general structure that we all fit in.
Perfect.
Sorry for I was having difficulty get to the session. I apologize for being late. So maybe it's a way to wrap it up. Thank you for all the presenter for presenting the details of this mDL showcase as the first ever STA is put together. But first, it's maybe for some of you don't know what STA or IAF stand. So STA Secure Alliance have two forums, the US Payment Forum and Identity Access Forum. And in the Identity Access Forum, we have focus on mutable technology. Digital identity is one. We have a jumpstart group for mDL. We also address other technology, and then we share some core technology along with the US Payment Forum. Next slide. So it's a member-led organization. So STA, you see that have relying parties, you have financial, you have payment, you have identity, you have tech provider. So it's a member-led organization, and we definitely welcome additional members if you're interested in seeing the work we're doing. Next slide. Unfortunately Sandy is not on, but IAF, our managing director is Sandy Mayfield. Danielle step in. Thank you, Danielle, for running the webinar for us. But it's supported by a team, and Krista Hoka is the executive director. Next slide. So some details on some of the things we do. And you can see that some of the work, actually the ideation of this showcase came out of the working groups, right? And we felt like how IAF can do to help drive the adoption of mDL in the ecosystem. And so it took a team effort so next slide, and collaboration to put it together, decided that we will not do a member day of IAF and do this tech showcase instead at the summit. So the IAF has a leadership team. It's composed of a steering committee, and I'm the chair. Rajan from Entrust is the vice chair. Consult Hyperion, which is now FEAM, is the secretary, and then you have Jayton from GND as the treasurer. So you can see that this is the group that sort of overseeing all the activity of happening within IAF. And then we have actually set up a planning committee, which is going to be the next slide, that planning for this event. So we're doing this for the first time. That's a lot of moving parts. I want to give kudos to the 8 other company that is crazy enough to want to organize this for the first ever, never done it before, during the summit. And we have, it's not a hackathon, it's not interoperability event. It's sort of a hybrid of a little bit of different things. But what we see is that we want the teams to come together or to get the end-to-end use cases. So I want to reiterate what Caroline said. This is not interop event. But we have the resources there. You have the expertise there to be available. But we are there to help showcasing what can be done with the mDL.
So I think what we can do is open up to questions. I'm not sure the mechanism we'll use. If there have been some in chat, we may be able to answer them, or if attendees are able to unmute and ask questions, we're certainly open to. We've got some time to be able to answer them. And maybe we could go to the last slide, Danielle, which has the sign up and contact information so that it's on the screen for folks.
Sure, and they're not able to unmute.
Okay.
But they can definitely put questions in the chat.
Okay, sorry, we should have mentioned that in the beginning. We're gonna give you a little rush, but if you do have questions that you want to answer, there's the contact information here. The QR code there is essentially for participants to, if you want to participate in a table, you can fill out that form. You can do that as a team. You can do that as one individual in a company who wants to take part in it and then be able to help to solve one of those use cases. Either is good.
David, I think we can also mention that we also have a registration on the stasummit.com for only observer. Like you can attend the showcase without needing a table, right? So if you don't want a table, you don't want to set up all those tags, but you have an MDL, you want to see all the other tag there, the registration is required to go into the showcase, and the registration is on the website. And you can only attend the showcase by itself, but you won't be able to go to the summit. The summit registration is in addition. You can either do both. There's a registration link for both showcase and summit, or the summit separately, or the showcase separately. And there's a different fee for member and non-member.
I'll give you a chance to go ahead and drop a question in the chat. Hopefully that's a mechanism that's working. But again, by all means, there's been some emails on a couple of slides where you can ask questions, and you've got some emails here. Sandy is a great resource to route things through.
Oh, there's a question.
So, a question from Richard Tevlin. We want to verify MDL-7 credentials, but haven't seen many interop partners who already support it. Do you already have participants who support -7 remote presentation? The answer is yes. We will have test MDLs that support that available. We know that there are use cases where people are already looking to sign up for a table that are for over the internet presentation. And as well, we have some contact with, like, for instance, California has already done at their hackathon, done some of that. And so we may have, and we are in California for this event. So we will have over the internet presentation at tables available as test MDLs, and it's definitely within scope for use cases to solve.
We encourage the provider, the teams, to come with -5 and -7 or both, right? So yeah.
Correct. Yeah, we want to solve use cases here.
Great questions.
Hold for a bit and see if there's another one. Come on, folks. You know, as soon as we all hang up, you're going to have questions.
So I think we should say that the Danielle, is the webinar being recorded?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So we will post the recording on the showcase page so that people didn't see it will see it. We decided to do it sooner so we can get this going, and then we have it recorded so that it will be also posted on the STA website. I think you guys did a great job explaining it, and no one have any more questions.
All right, excellent. Well, we are all here, and the contact information is there. Follow up with questions. We encourage people to form teams and join tables. We're really looking forward to seeing the variety of how things get solved. I think it's going to be really interesting to see the different interactions that MDLs use in real life.
I'll just add, keep an eye out for the toolkit link for future reference to come back around the resources.
Yeah, I would say that we were loud and clear, right? You don't have to be a member STA to get a table at the showcase. But we want you to see the benefit and maybe consider joining STA. So STA membership is not required to get a table.
Awesome. Thank you all for attending today, and we look forward to talking to you soon and seeing you in San Diego.
Everyone, really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.